hopefully we do see like our restrictions kind of loosen their grip and in COVID taper off, because there's been so much COVID fraud going on. And you have to be really careful. So I sent you guys a story about this rap group in New York called Wu Gang, WOO Gang, like not Wu Tang, Wu Gang.
The knockoff Wu Tang. They're the Walmart
Pretty
version.
much. But I mean, they got away with like almost a $4.3 million in COVID fraud. So what they did is there's a certain program called TLO, which means the last one, which is like the last project this guy did. And it's ran by TransUnion. Law enforcement uses this program to find like skip tracers, etc., to like look up people's personal information. It's a large database of like social security numbers, email addresses, addresses in general, phone numbers, like driver's license numbers. Well, that program TLO, like to get a username, you have to be part of like a federal entity or like be like a criminal investigator. So what they're seeing is there's a platform called Telegram, and that is basically promoted like a fraud focused community platform, and people are literally advertising on there like, hey, I can get you this TLO access for $5 every identity that you look at. So what they did is they got these identities from New York residents from a TLO person called TLO Skyscraper and Profile, about 800 of them. And they proceeded to do 1,000 COVID benefit fraud scams. So people who were probably working or doing whatever, they were filing under their name to get COVID relief. Which actually happened to me too. Like I received notification that my social was trying to be used for a COVID unemployment claim. And I was like, no, this isn't it. I did the paperwork I needed to do. So like, who's to say that's not going on here? And it's definitely not the first time. In 2019, another rap group in North Carolina, they used TLO to commit common identity theft. So these guys were estimating to make $20 million just based off the 800 victims that they sold their identities from. In the end, they only managed $4.3 million, and they were caught because they were flaunting their shit on social media. So neither TransUnion or the DOJ is like confirming which identities were threatened, and I think TransUnion's taking a very gross approach to it. They're saying, well, we can't be made for certain that these identities were stolen from our program. It could have been sourced from any other one. So it's like all this was done in crypto too. So like the government's having like a really hard time like tracking down like the money or like where it came from or like the payment to the person who granted them this TLO access. I mean, like this program is used like across the board. It has 17 billion vehicle registration and vehicle sighting records, more than 350 million social security numbers, 4 billion address histories. Even since like created since 2009, it's really popular with local and federal law enforcement. The Secret Service this month alone has spent $50,000 just on licenses for this program.
Jesus fuck.
Oh. So originally it was supposed to be created for law enforcement, but like it's so easily manipulated for fraud and crime. Like my next question is like, why does something like this even exist? Like, do people have an option to like even opt out of it? Like that's like personal information that they have in a database. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I don't like that.
So
why is it so easily accessible?
And who are they getting the information from?
Yeah.
That's
that's the big part of it. But it's not just one person, right? Like there has to be multiple people who have access to this program that do stuff under the table. How can you identify who's accessing what records and the volume that they're accessing? So there has to be a way, like, to figure out who accessed what.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
I mean, yeah, they should. with that much government involvement, they should be able to track it down pretty easily.
Look, if
Like this IP address accessed this at this time.
Yeah.
or even like this user was granted access by this other user, let's find out why. Like, this is a database, you know, most things that are being searched and tracked are recorded on said databases if a good database administrator set it up.
Yeah.
So
like part of the communication that was caught, according to the DOJ, between the gang and the TLO user was like, hey, like, I need this with driver license numbers ASAP. And the guy sold it for $150 a pop. Like, each identity was $150, and it was all done during crypto. So can't trace where it went to. But there has to be a way to find out, like, who was impacted.
But that should just be flat out illegal in the first place, right? Like, you selling that information.
It is. And, like, according to TransUnion, they say that, like, it's... Hold on, what did they... Their direct quote was, data security is our top priority. To ensure that this information is used only as permitted and appropriate, we deploy comprehensive safeguards, including rigorous credential of users, strict access of controls, and ongoing monitoring. If anything were to happen, they said in a rare case, we determine one of our customers has misused our data, we immediately terminate access. But at the same time, like, that information's already out there. Like, that could be your information or my information or, you know, Snickers in the chat, his information. Like, it's already done.
Yeah. I want to say I heard of this, definitely not this exact one, but either in late 2020, early 2021, there was quite a few people I knew that were getting those letters that saying, hey, your social is being used for unemployment. Here's what's going on. And they had to, like, keep calling around and be like, no, I didn't do this. I did not file for this. Like, this was not me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know,
it took me like a whole month to get to hear back from somebody. Yeah.
It's, I don't know. Why does this database exist in the first place?
Right? What is this database for? Yeah.
Yeah. It's doing more harm than good right now. I mean, especially right now, like, when you can ruin your credit so easily. If somebody ruins your credit, like, even with identity theft, it still takes significant amount of time, like years, to get it back to where it was before. And even if it wasn't you. And during this time where so much is going on,
we're all struggling. Like, you wanna make us have to deal with more. If you're gonna steal from anyone, steal from the fucking rich, dude. Come on. Not that I'm condemning. Not that I'm saying you should steal from people. Okay.
Yeah, but the rich can pay to not be on the list, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How about you use a list that has rich people on it, dumbasses?
I think what hurts the most is learning that my identity is only worth $150.
Yeah.
I'm worth more.
Just think about it. That's like a 10x investment, though, you know? Like, what, they're getting like $1,400 a pop?
Yeah.
Pay $150?
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think something like that should exist, but I think, like, it really goes into, like, all those companies that sell your data, right? Like, you click a little checkbox and it's like, yep, I agree to whatever terms and service that you have. They turn around and sell your data and it ends up in databases like this. Or if you go on, like, I don't know, Find People or some website, type in your name, type in your family members. Like, it connects you to all your other members of family. Last known addresses, emails, like, that's public. You could see anything. And yeah, you can opt out of those websites, but it's only a matter of time before your information's back on there again.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out how I'm getting text messages asking to buy a property where my name, my driver's license was registered to that address, but I've never owned it. It has belonged to somebody else. I only lived there for a year. And for the last year, I have been getting text messages saying, hey, don't you want to buy this property? Or don't you want to sell this property? I'm like, I don't own that.
Like, yeah,
I would love to sell it.
Right, let me sell it, get the money, and then we can turn around and sue you.
Yeah, just
Sylvie.
go ahead and go knock on the door. I'll answer. Yeah, I'm home.
He keeps staring at Alan.
Why? Does he want pets? I'll blink real slow.
Yeah.
No, he just wants attention right now.
He's gonna want more next week.
So
We're taking him to the vet.
Ooh.
Big oof.
He knows. He's like, Dad, please help. Don't let me do it.
He's like, I'm in here because Mother's being rude. She wants to take me to the vet.
Well, that wraps up another great episode. And don't forget to join our amazing and supportive community on Discord.
In our Discord, you can find game nights, watch parties, food pics, Dungeons and Dragons, and more. What's not to love about that? We have a little something for everyone. Head over to our website, officialmillennials.com, and you'll find more info, especially our featured Gamer of the Week.
Speaking of something for everyone, we have a book club. We read a book almost every month and talk through it together. We also have a special perk for our subs to discuss other books in a series called Chapter 2.
Don't forget to swing by YouTube and drop us a follow at Official Millennials. You can also find us on Twitter at MillsOfficial. We appreciate all the support, and y'all have a good one.
This is an Official Millennials production.